Yeah,
Jack,
I think they have the easiest of all the leagues. This to me is the most likely to work. I mean, they're creating a true bubble with no travel. That's in and of its, simplest premise. That is the best one that I've heard so far from a safety standpoint. Now you get to how do you make this thing work from a game standpoint? And that's going to be the biggest question when we really get it popping is, okay, so you're going to have all these guys playing full speed playoff basketball, talking trash, and you're going to hear everything. I mean, this is going to be some X-rated trash talk coming across. How do you combat that without the whole thing sounding like, an X-rated song, Steady Mobbin' playing on the radio? It's going to be bleeped out every 2 seconds. You can't do that. It's not fun to listen to. It's almost like you need that X-rated version. You need that clean version option, or you just mute the game, or you do fake crowd noise and mute the whole thing. Or you do this. This would be my idea, and I just want to get your guys' temperature on this. Having other players that have already been quarantined, that have already gone through the bubble process, sit courtside. So you'd have Westbrook sitting courtside watching OKC, for instance, Kawhi watching Toronto courtside, so that all these players could just show up and sit right along the court and, get in their ear and chirp or whatever it is, almost like All-Star Weekend, but knowing that it's competitive playoff basketball so that there's not nobody, there's their peers.
And mic them up, although they're going to be cursing as well, and then you got a real problem. You gotta go
it's double X-rated.
Stands now I'm back to my X-rated broadcast.
I'm all for it. Hey, you know what? I didn't think I would really like the crowd noise being pumped in, but we've done it for Premier League, and I know the Bundesliga has done it as well. It's kind of like a low murmur. I think that helps to cover up some of those curse words that are said on the court, but. I'm with you. I'm still all about this being an opportunity to do something different and try to see what else we can do from a broadcast standpoint, Corey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I just read an article about how they're going to how the potentiality, to monetize this bubble works, and especially gameplay. And the NBA has been trying to monetize audio for some time, but now you're seeing Spotify push really heavily for to buy up podcasts and anything in the audio space. And I just read recently that Twitter was testing audio-only tweets. So if you think about that, there might be an opportunity for the NBA to then sell that trash talk you're talking about and say, look, you want to hear this itemized bit, or what does LeBron James say after a dunk? Or, what does Kawhi say to the Raptors? You can actually, you might have an audience for that.
Yeah.
Oh, you'd have a huge audience for that. Huge audience.
Then you have the problem, but then you always have the problem, right? When you put a camera, when you put it under the microscope, it changes it, right? And so that if you're mic'd up, the trash talk as we know it, which we don't know that much of it unless you play in the NBA, will be gone forever. I'm a little skeptical that players would be as free if they knew they were being recorded.
Well, the famous phrase from Hard Knocks, which is exactly what we're talking about here, is that about the first 48 hours, guys are a little skeptical and a little careful, and then they go about their business and they get comfortable. Yeah. They forget that the mic is on. At some point, they're out there competing for their livelihoods with everything on the line in the world watching. Somewhere along the line, you just start being yourself.
And you got to think about like Reggie Miller and Spike Lee. That's at the Garden. A million cameras and he's nothing stopping him, or Kevin Garnett. Like, trash talk is inherent in the game, and I feel like a lot of guys, people brag about who's a better trash talker.
I agree. So I think they know fans love it. You know what I'm saying? And if fans love it and live for it, I think guys will be more, shoot, the NBA already, this is a super progressive league. Half the guys already have a podcast where they talk how they talk, and they say shit, and they say and they say everything else. Bleep that out if we have to. But that's just the reality of the league that we live in. And so you're like telling them that, hey, don't say it on the court. They're like, forget it, you. Like, I think the players will be the last people that you'd have to convince, is my point.